Hi everyone, welcome back. This is Tuplex. I now have a lot of biters coming at me. Watch out. Maybe I should go over there. Looks like they're heading down this way. Let's see if we can head them off. Anyway, I now have 6 rows of these solar arrays. So we should be pretty good with power for a little while at least. Later on we'll get into nuclear, but I don't want to do that just yet. Let's see. Did I miss the attack? Oh, here it comes. There you go. Have some rockets. Some lasers. Let's get off the goo. How many rockets do I have here? Oh, I've got a whole lot. Okay, that's good. I did use my artillery train to take out some of the closer bases, and we can see right now that I set up a series of stations for the artillery train to stop. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it'll stop at each one, wait for 5 seconds of inactivity. If the turrets are moving or firing, then that counts as activity. So if there's anything to shoot, then the train will wait there until it's done. So what the train does now is it comes out here to station number 1. It'll shoot anything in range. Then it goes up here to 2, then over to 3, and then over to 4. And then it comes back home to get more ammo, refuel, and then it heads out again. At the loading station, I have it wait for 5 seconds of inactivity and make sure that I have at least 10 artillery shells loaded, because if there's no ammo, I don't want it to waste, to waste fuel just running around the base with no ammo. So that way it'll only go off for another round if it's got at least 10 artillery shells available. And we can see here what the automatic range is. So nothing in range there. If it goes to artillery 2, I think we'll see that all this stuff is probably just out of range. I think I used to have a radar there at artillery 1. Or maybe I didn't. No, I don't think it did. I should put one there so I can see what's going on. Let's see. Yeah, see, we're just out of range of these. We could probably fire a few, and I think that'll make the train wait. All right, and then at each of these stops, I also put an array of turrets, because what'll happen, as you can see here, excuse me, is once we fire on a base with the artillery, then all the biters that are standing around will go and attack wherever those shells came from. So we need to have some turrets set up so that they can handle it. Otherwise, the biters would come in here, they wouldn't see anything, and then they would come and start attacking my mine, which I want to avoid. So you can see here they're coming over to approximately where the attack occurred, and then they'll run into my turrets here if all goes well and get taken care of. All right, so that's a continuous cycle at this point. The other thing I've set up, let's head down here. I set up a way to automatically disable the steam power. Whoops, no, I think I'm gonna have to go around here. We automatically disable the steam power when I've got a certain amount of charge. So what you can see here is I placed a single accumulator that's connected to the network, and every accumulator, if you connect it to a red or a green wire, will output a signal. In this case, the signal is on the A channel, and it'll send out a number which, as you can see right now, A is 48 47, 46. That number represents the percent of total charge available in the accumulator. Now, all the accumulators, as long as they're all connected to the same grid, all accumulators will have the same charge level. So you only need one to do this. And that's why I just put one accumulator close by so that we don't have to run the signal wire over a large distance. So we can see now that the signal is 24. Okay, it's dropping lower and lower. Now it's starting to go back up again. But what I did then is I connected that signal to each of these water pumps. And I set the pumps to enable only when the charge drops below 25%. Okay, so if A is less than 25, they'll start to pump water. That'll activate the steam generation, which will give us power. Okay, so that way when the charge starts to get low, we'll get a little bit of extra power from those steam turbines. Steam engines, rather. Sorry, the steam turbines are the ones that we use for nuclear power. But at this stage, I'm able to generate much more power with my solar than I am with the steam. So once your power generation capability grows rather high, then the effectiveness of this solution will, eventually become somewhat insignificant. But right now, it looks like we've got 187 megawatts of solar energy. Okay, I know this is the maximum because this line is no longer rising, which means that we're in full daylight, and I'm still charging the accumulators. Okay, so that means that it's pulling the maximum amount of power that it can. Now, another thing we could do to make this even better, it wouldn't be bad to continue to run steam until the batteries are fully charged, right? Because I'm thinking we may get to nighttime before we even get a full charge in the accumulators. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure how much daylight I've got left here. All right, there goes some turrets. All right, we might get just to a full charge before we start to lose solar power again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then our power consumption drops. Okay, so we could change this so that we could have it turn on when it drops below 25 and then stay on until it reaches a full charge again. And we can do that by using a decider combinator. And we're going to set up what's called a set reset circuit. Okay, so what we're looking for is that the set signal is greater than the reset signal. And when that's true, we're going to output the set signal with a 1. And then we loop the input back to the input, or we loop the output back to the input. And I'll show you how this works. All right, so I'm going to make a constant combinator. And the constant combinator is something you can use just to send a predetermined signal. So in this case, let's send an S with a value of 1. Okay, and I'll hook that up. So when I do that, I I need to use a different colored wire. Excuse me 1 second. Let's use a green wire for that, because I don't want that signal to pass all the way through. Alright, I'm going to have to go over there and repair again. Okay, so now we can see that this is outputting a 1 because we have the set signal active. Now what you'll see is even if I turn this off, it's going to continue to output a 1 because of the feedback loop that we have here. So the nice thing about this set reset circuit is that as soon as you set the S condition, it'll continue to, as soon as you set it, it'll continue to output the set signal until you reset it. Now to reset it, you would give it, in this case, an R, which is the reset signal. Okay, so it's still sending a 1. Now if I turn on the reset signal, now the set signal has disappeared. And it'll stay like that even when I turn this off. So you can feed it momentary signals to change the state of the switch from a 1 to a 0, essentially. Right, now if I change this back to an S again, I can turn it on and off, and now it's outputting a set. Okay, so this is a good way to turn something on when one condition is met and leave it on until another condition is met. Okay, so let's set those two conditions. So I'm going to make 2 more decider combinators. And I'll put those right there. Okay. So we want to turn this on when A is less than 25. And in that case, we'll output an S. Okay. Let me disconnect. No, let me disconnect this. Okay, so now I'm going to connect the accumulator to these 2 combinators. And actually, let's make this less than or equal to, probably doesn't matter. Okay. And then we'll connect that to the input here. So this will activate once the accumulator charge drops below 25. And then we can check if the accumulator signal is equal to 100. We will send the reset signal to turn it off. Okay, so now it's sending an R, which is our reset signal. And that's going to turn this off. Okay, and then I'll just change the pumps to, we'll turn on when S is equal to 1. And I'll copy those settings to the other pumps. Okay, so now when the accumulator drops below 25, equal to or 25, it's going to turn this switch on. That'll turn on the pumps, and the pumps will continue to run, so we'll continue to get power from steam until we get back up to 100%, and at that point it'll reset the switch. And remember that at that point the set signal will be gone, so it'll just be holding the set signal that we got when it dropped below 25. And then the reset will kick in at 100%, and it'll turn it off. All right, so we just have to wait for another opportunity for that to happen to see it work. And who knows when that will be. Hopefully soon, because it would be nice to see a live demonstration of that in action. But again, that's a fairly simple way to do this. Well, it probably is more complicated than I'm giving it credit for. But just remember to, on your set reset switch, remember to loop the output back to the input. And then you set it to S greater than R and output an S. Okay, so the way this works, once you get the set signal, S will be greater than R because R will be 0. At that point, it's going to output an S of 1, and then that S of 1 is going to loop back. So it's going to continuously loop and give you an S of 1 until you feed it an R signal. When you feed it an R, at that point, S is no longer greater than R because they're equal at that point. It'll be a 1 and a 1. And then this will no longer output an S of 1. It'll output nothing, right? Essentially a 0. And then there won't be any S looping back to the input. So that's why you can just give it a momentary signal of either S or R, and it'll flip it. All right. Hope that was clear. If you have any questions about it, let me know. And I'm using green signal wires here because when you combine, well, if I were using red signal wires here, then whatever I'm outputting on the red is going to pass through onto the rest of this circuit. And I only want this circuit to control the pump, so I don't want to contaminate it with these signals. I only want either an S or nothing to go out of here. So that's why I use a green wire between these and this one to isolate it. Because green wires and red wires always carry their signals separately. Let me demonstrate here. So if I put some sort of a signal on here and I connect it with a green wire, right, now you see a green D of 1, and over here you see nothing because the red wire going between here and there doesn't carry anything that's on the green wire. Now here and here you do see that D signal. Oh, okay. Is it coming on now? That was weird. So here you can see the D because that's where I have a green. Why is it turning on? That's weird. The pumps are turned off. They got water somehow. Okay. How did that happen? That is strange. I'm not sure how that happened. Okay. Well, let's watch and see if we're going to see it work. I don't think it, yeah. I guess if we get an attack or something, then it might drop below 25, but I'm not sure that the accumulator charge is going to drop that far. We're already doing research, so there's not much more that I can do to pull more power. I think the batteries will only deplete low enough if we get some biter attacks. Yeah, see the solar panels are already coming back on, so. All right, well, anyway, we'll hope for an opportunity to see it work. In the meantime, what I would like to do now is to start setting up our rockets. Okay, we've already got all the research being done. We've already researched everything that we need in order to launch the rocket, right? And we have the rocket silo available. So I think the first thing that we ought to do is start to build the rocket silo. Now, the rocket silo requires gobs and gobs of ingredients. 1,000 steel plates, 1,000 concrete, 200 blue circuits, 200 electric engines, and 100 pipes. So what I usually do is I'll just set up a factory, and that way I can dump stuff into the factory because I don't have enough inventory space to hold everything. All right, so there's the 100 pipes. Let's grab 200 blue circuits. Okay, we need 200 electric engines. We can get that down here. Where do we have those? Yeah, here we go. How many is that? That's 140. Okay. That's more than 200. Oops, I gave up too many. Okay. And let's get 1,000 steel plates. That's basically one complete row. Okay. Let's put all that in. And I can't remember if I'm making any concrete yet. I feel like I'm not. So we'll have to set up concrete production. Okay, and then 200 engines. Yeah, so now we just need 1,000 bits of concrete. Let me just check my production statistics. No, I'm not making any concrete whatsoever. Okay, so we'll need to set up concrete. Now, concrete is made from iron ore, stone bricks, and water. So I've got stone bricks here, I've got iron ore here, and I have water here as well. So what I usually do is just set up 2 machines like this. Concrete, concrete. Actually, let's move those up by 1. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then we'll extend this belt so we can get our iron ore. Bricks. Okay, here are the bricks. And it's just dumb luck that I have the bricks going right next to here. I didn't plan it that way, but it worked out rather nicely. And then we can bring up some water from here. Let's see, straight down, underground. No? Ah, my pump's turned off. Right. Okay, we'll have to bring up the water on its own. So we'll make an offshore pump. And we'll just run it up this way. Okay, let's see here. Can I remove that? Yeah. All right, and then I'll put a passive provider right there and a couple of inserters. And let's throw in a light. Okay, now this makes this recipe makes 10 concrete. So 1 iron ore and 5 bricks will give us 10 pieces of concrete along with the water. So it produces fairly quickly and won't take long to accumulate 1,000 of it. I'm just curious why we... Oh, okay. Yeah, never mind. Okay, and then I'll just set this... I'll set this to run as long as we have less than 1,000. No, you know what? Forget it. I'm not even going to limit it. We'll just fill the chest up. Because later on we can, once we build up a lot of concrete, we can use it to pave sections of the base. You get 130% walk speed on stone brick, and on concrete you get 140. And then there's also reinforced concrete. I'm sorry, refined concrete, which I actually have never used. That'll give you 150%. So that's the high end. If you want to run around really fast around your base, that would be the way to go. Okay, so we'll wait for this to give us 1,000. While we're waiting for that, I would like to make some productivity modules. It's a good idea to load up your rocket silo, because your rocket silo produces, well, it consumes a huge amount of fairly expensive ingredients. So you want the maximum productivity boost you can possibly get from it. And it has 4 module slots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 4 productivity module 3s. Okay, so I'll start by getting a couple stacks of productivity module 1s. We'll turn those into productivity module 2s. And we need 5 productivity 2s for every productivity module 3. So if we can do this in a 5-to-1 ratio, that would give us the fastest result. So there's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so we'll set these all to make productivity 2s, and we'll set this to make productivity 3s. And I'll just hand feed these the ingredients. Okay, this is where a substation would be nice, because I could power this whole thing with one substation. Okay, so we just need, since I want 5 of these, I'm going to need 5, or no, I want 4 of these. So I need to make 4 productivity module 2s in each of these. That means I need 16 productivity module 1s in each of these machines. Okay, so there's 16. There's 16. $16. And 16. Okay, and then we need a bunch of red circuits and blue circuits. So we'll just collect those by hand. And actually what I'm going to do for now, I'm just going to collect all the blue circuits for myself until I get this loaded. Okay, and here are red circuits. Gobble, gobble, gobble. I'll take those. Thank you very much. Okay. And we'll start feeding those in too. And then I can get rid of these extra productivity modules. Okay, and let's grab those. Okay, so for 4... Alright, so I need 20 of each circuit. I'll just feed them the 20 blue circuits, since those are the most precious. Alright, and then the red circuits I'll just... I'll do it in a less scientific fashion. Okay, and we can take out extras. Okay. And then I'll just put a stack each in there. That should be enough. All right, so we'll just let that run until it stops, and that'll give us 4. All right, let's see how we're doing on the concrete. We should have 1,000 by now, I think. Where is it? I should have brought my spider. No, I don't have 1,000 yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Not quite done with the concrete. And we can help speed this along. Crud. Not too easily. No. Alright, forget it. I'll just wait. 760. Alright, we'll have to wait a couple more minutes. Okay, so while we're waiting for that... Why is my spider going so slow? I think it's because of the belts. I felt like he was going faster before. I should probably put a battery in there. Alright, how are we doing? We got 1. And these are done. Yeah, 2, 3, and then 4. Okay. I know what we can do while we're waiting for that. We can go repair our oil. So I want to at least get the rocket silo set up today, and then in the next episode we can start building all the parts that we're going to need to make the rocket. let's go back over there, pick up our concrete. And I've been pretty lazy with my base defenses since I haven't built any wall to the north or to the east. But I think it kind of shows that, at least at this stage of the game, that you don't have to build a super elaborate base defense to keep things going. At least up to the point that you can launch a rocket. Okay, there's our 1,000 concrete. So let's go make our rocket silo. Oh, and I should probably get that off the belt. Okay, concrete, there you go. Alright, that'll take a few seconds to craft. Looks like we're running low in green circuits again, probably due to copper. No? Iron? No, I've got plenty of iron. I wonder why my green circuits ran low. I guess I'm just not making enough of them. We can fix that pretty easily. Yeah, these belts are not quite getting full, so hopefully another set of these things will take care of that. We could always upgrade these to red belts as well, if that's still not enough. Alright, there we go. That ought to help a little bit. Ideally, I'd like to see 2 completely full yellow belts down at the bottom here. There we go. Alright, that's better. Okay, I think our rocket is done now. Rocket silo, I should say. So we can pick that up. And then we'll place the rocket silo. I think right here seems like a good enough place. Okay, and let's power that up. And you can see this has 4 module slots. So let's pick up our modules. There we go. And we can just control click the modules to load those in. since it doesn't take the modules as an ingredient, they only have one place to go, and it'll automatically go into the productivity module slots. So this is going to give us 40% productivity on the rocket silo. Now you can see that each rocket part requires 10 each of rocket control units, low density structures, which we're already making, and rocket fuel. But with these modules loaded in, and you need 100 rocket parts to launch a rocket. Okay, so normally, without any productivity modules, you would need 1,000 of each of those ingredients to launch a single rocket. But with the 40% productivity modules, you need, let's see, 1 divided by 1.4, 700 and, well, we'll have to round it up, 715 of each. So that's a pretty huge savings in terms of raw materials. Now it does slow it down, of course. I'll just stand here and let my lasers help out. How are we doing on ammo? We could use some more ammo. We could probably also use a few laser turrets behind it. There. So that's a huge savings. Now, it's also going to slow down the machine by 40%. So, or I'm sorry, slow it down by 60%. So it's going to be slower, but that's okay because really we can make the rocket parts faster than we're going to be making the ingredients anyway. So for this, for doing a single rocket launch on this base, I don't care if it's a little bit slow. And it's also going to use a lot more power. So you can see that this thing is going to consume 16.8 megawatts, which is huge. Right now it's only consuming 8.3 kilowatts. Whoops. Sorry. Which is the minimum consumption, 8.33. So just by having it connected to power, you're going to use 8.3 kilowatts. But when it's actually going through a production cycle, it'll consume 16.8. So it's quite a lot of power for a single thing there. So we'll need to start making rocket control units and rocket fuel. We've already got the low density structures. So while we're building our rocket, we can just divert this production away from science packs. So as soon as I finish this space science pack research, we'll just stop doing science, and then we can divert this over here to the rocket silo. And then we'll set up the production of the rocket control units and the rocket fuel. Rocket fuel is pretty easy to make. The rocket control units are a little more difficult. But after seeing all the rest of this factory get put together, I don't think any of you will have any trouble with it. So we'll get into that in the next episode. Thanks a lot for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.